We have an update on an AEW star following a health scare. Plus, an AEW champion is working injured and has a new WWE faction name been revealed. It's all in the Cultaholic wrestling news right now. CJ Perry has had a rough couple of weeks. It all started with getting a splinter backstage at Dynamite, and she ended up in hospital getting treatment for an infection. She came out and all looked well. Not the case anymore. She was back in hospital this week, apparently.
Yeah, so yesterday CJ Perry revealed that she was heading back to the hospital to deal with complications whilst healing from an infection. She actually updated her Instagram followers, revealing that she'd spent the day on antibiotics, having flesh and scabs cut out of her finger, with possible full-blown surgery, second surgery, happening next week.
I don't know why I did that. Flesh and scabs.
I was like, oh no, thank you.
What's wrong with me? It's my future wife. I'm getting married this year. I don't know if I've told you. She watches Dr. Pimple Popper on an evening.
Oh, I love those videos. They're so good.
And she watches it and she'll go, "I'm disgusting, aren't I?" And I go, "No, everyone watch. Look at the hits. Everyone's doing this. It's fine." So I imagine that if CJ Perry did want to make some money on the side, just film the flesh and scab removal from her finger. Someone will buy it. What am I saying? Get well, CJ Perry.
Get well soon, CJ Perry. That's what we're trying to say.
Oh, it's nasty business. Yes. Nothing but the best wishes to CJ Perry at this stage. Something so innocuous, getting a splinter, has led to all this. It's ridiculous. And meanwhile, a champion for Ring of Honor, owned by AEW, is working injured.
Yeah, the Machine Brian Cage, 1/3 of the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, he revealed on Instagram that he's wrestled on Dynamite Homecoming with a torn lat. Cage shared footage of the match on Instagram with the caption, "Got my poo in, did my version of Orange Cassidy hands in pockets, or the Al Bundy suplex, and did it all with a torn lat. Who's a machine? This guy." Cage suffered the torn latissimus muscle in question back in January after taking a second rope superplex from Trent Beretta last week in the 4-way. It looked pretty gnarly, as the children say. Cage described the injury as a boo and said the show must go on. He literally is a machine.
He is a beast, but look after yourself, please.
Yes,
Brian.
Please do.
Get very worried about you. We don't want people working through injuries too much.
No.
So best wishes, Brian Cage. I say best wishes, he'll be fine. I'm more worried for the torn lat than I am for Brian Cage. Now, backstage at AEW was an exciting place to be at Homecoming because you had Pac backstage. We talked about this earlier in the week. No sign of when he'll be back on the screen, but the fact that he made that trip from Newcastle Airport to Florida suggests that maybe there might be something cooking up for him.
I hope so. I do hope so. It felt like too long for him to be away, bless him.
Not the only person backstage. Fightful Select reporting today that Elijah Burke, formerly known as the Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, was backstage at AEW Dynamite in Jacksonville this week. He's from the area, so he was popping by to say hi. What a star. I love the Pope. So in WWE, he got a bit of a show in as Elijah Burke. Yeah. Brief tag with Sylvester Terkay, and then the new breed in ECW.
Stuff. Yeah.
And then they did. Why they didn't do anything with him on the main roster? It annoys me because he's so good.
He's very charismatic. And I remember in TNA, he used to get quite the pop when he'd come out as well. Really charismatic. And then later on with some of the more NWA stuff that he was doing, I think he got injured at like Hard Times 2 or something, and then when he came back, he made this heartfelt promo about his injury and everything, and not really knowing what was going to happen. And it kind of mirrored the Hard Times Dusty Rhodes stuff, the promo there as well. And man, he's still so good on the microphone, like ridiculously good on the microphone.
I'd love to see somewhere Pope have more of his flowers. Keep giving the man flowers.
Just keep giving the Pope
covered in
flowers.
begonias. TNA flavoured news as we head into Hard to Kill, and I mean the promotion Total Nonstop Action, not Jeff Jarrett's gang of clubhouse mates Total Nonstop Arseholes. Please don't tweet at real Jeff Jarrett calling his team Total Nonstop Arseholes. He's getting really raj with me about it. Thanks. Okay, TNA.
It seems like you might You might want people to...
No, of course.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I don't want to upset my brilliant mate, Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, good. Best friends. You had tea together that one time.
We had tea together. He said I was great.
Yeah.
He said, shall I move, we had great chats like, shall I move my chair slightly here? I said, yeah, you're more in shot that way. We had great conversations with Jeff. We go back ages. He had a nice hangout with my mate Grado. He's a lovely man. Don't call him a total non-stop arsehole on Twitter. Thanks. TNA putting on Hard to Kill tomorrow night. And a shocking appearance is planned, according to PW Insider. It's going to be an ex-WWE star. But it won't end at Hard to Kill. Fightful saying today, we've heard that TNA does have multiple signings that are likely to be revealed in the upcoming weeks.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm really intrigued to see who this ex-WWE star will be. I was looking at, obviously, the releases from last year, the unfortunate releases from WWE, and the bigger names there, I guess. Obviously, you had Mustafa Ali. We've heard people maybe say that he's going to AEW down the line, but that doesn't mean he can't stop off at TNA for a little bit. Shelton Benjamin as well.
I think Shelton Benjamin would have a phenomenal time in TNA.
Me too, and I would love to see that as well. I really would.
Not so much name, but names. The Maximum Male Models, as they were previously known. I'd love to see Mace Madden and Mansoor in the mix. In TNA. I had a lovely chat with Mace Madden, and he said Impact / TNA just feels like a spiritual home.
Yeah.
And when they were doing a live stream and Impact Wrestling came in, they started going, bring us home, guys. Bring us home. It feels like home to them. Love to see them pop up. It's going to be an interesting couple of weeks to see who does end up going and doing stuff with TNA. They've really got the checkbook out, and they've really got some good intentions for 2024. Buzzing to see it. Now, if you listen on a morning to the Cultaholic or Wrestling News podcast in audio form, this is a bespoke 10-minute audio podcast that we put out every weekday morning. Give me 10 minutes, I'll tell you all the wrestling news straight into your ears. It's moving to its own podcast feed. So if you enjoy the audio version of the Wrestling News podcast, which is different to this, just me telling you the news, no silly jokes, some silly jokes. If you enjoy that, you'll find it by searching Cultaholic Wrestling News wherever you get your podcasts from. Tomorrow, from next week, it officially lives there. Search Cultaholic Wrestling News. On Saturday, i.e. tomorrow, there's a very special classic SmackDown review. Right, so it's the retro reactions. Matthew, Greg, and I have been watching every episode of SmackDown from the very beginning to its bitter end, or ours. And we did a retro reactions to WrestleMania 18. Now, before Christmas, we said, look, it's quite a long one. We've got a lot of stuff on. Let's record one part today, and let's record another part next week.
Yes.
We'll get it done before Christmas. Happy days. We recorded the first part, and then I got sick just before Christmas. So we only recorded the second part yesterday. So if you are a Patreon, you've got this wonderful video podcast coming your way tomorrow, which shows Matthew and I in Christmas jumpers, and then all of a sudden, like, Matthew's got a moustache. I'm slightly thinner. It's really weird.
I'm excited to see the transformation.
Yeah, it's good fun. If you're a Patreon, you can watch it. If you're not, you can hear the audio version on the podcast feed over the weekend as well. Right, let's move over to SmackDown tonight. Do we maybe see some action from Bobby Lashley in the Street Profits? Well, we nearly had something happen last week to them that didn't. Isn't that right, Andrew?
That is correct, Tom. You are on the money there.
Just scream.
We get in there eventually. This comes from WrestleVotes, and they say there were plans in place to name the Bobby Lashley / Street Profits faction on last week's SmackDown. However, that got axed at the last second for unknown reasons. I'm told those plans are still tentative, as the direction of the trio could be shifting. The plan name for the group is The Pride.
The Pride. I like it.
I quite like it as well. I quite like you. Were you the one who suggested the Almighties? The Almighties?
That might not have been me, but I will
Maybe it was
claim
Adam.
it.
I quite like that one though. I don't mind the Pride either. It's about bloody time we name this faction. However, maybe if things are still sort of shifting for them.
Well, it's more a case I think they're probably shifting they might be moving into more babyface role if they're going to go up against the Authors of Pain and Karrion Kross.
I mean, to be fair as well, they just keep getting cheered when they come out regardless anyway.
Yeah.
So why not? Yeah.
So you might as well lean into it. The Pride, I think, is an excellent name for a faction. Probably the second best new faction name that I've heard this week, outside of Total Non-Stop Arseholes. At Real Jeff Jarrett. Don't tweet him. He hates
said
it.
don't tweet him. Oh, there we go.
That's
Yeah.
fine. I wouldn't. Yeah, don't tweet at Real Jeff Jarrett. Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, the Pride babyface team up against Karrion Kross and AOP. That's A-OK with me.
And me too.
Anything you want to plug?
No. I was gonna do the thing again, like my PlayStation to play this. No, I got nothing to plug other than all of Tom's really good stuff, his news podcast and everything as well, all the SmackDown review stuff. This boy is a workhorse, and you should ride him.
Well, at least buy me dinner first. Video over the weekend, by the way, where we look at the title reign of Jinder Mahal. We're finally doing it, because obviously Jinder gets a world title match on Monday. We take a proper look back at his 2017 title run. Was it as bad as we remember? It was. Join us and find out. And for the latest wrestling news throughout the day, you can check out cultaholic.com. Keys.
I love you, bye.